So I like this book because you can find it, I think, for $5. So that's great. And the wisdom of the book is that it presents you with 50 games from a candidate master point of view. So someone around 2000, 2100, you need to take his position in a game and try to guess the right move and right plans. Okay? This, in my opinion, is the best way to learn chess. You must be active, proactive as a reader, right? If you just read a game, you will not learn anything. And the advantage you have in this video format is that I tell you, pause the video. So you pause the video and try to guess. Okay, so this is chapter 6, game 6. You are white, your opponent is black and is rated 1807. You start with d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6. And now you play an interesting move, which is bishop g5. And the author writes, you, the candidate master, can also play slightly unusual openings. White plans a collar formation with a bishop outside the pawn structure. So what is a collar formation? This is a collar formation, but generally this is inside, okay? Not outside. So he says that he plans to do this. Honestly, this is called a Torre attack. And this kind of formation, if the bishop was here, would be the famous London system, right? So you have that too. And he is trying to play this opening to take the 1800 player out of his opening repertoire immediately. That's the reason why he played so. Black continue with e6, e3, and c5. And white plays c3. This is the thing that we can notice. At a certain point you will notice it. This is like the triangle formation for black. So you can see that when you play or white or black, someone fight for the center, the other try to keep it stable. And I don't know, obviously, which of the two is more active, but you need to discover for yourself what do you feel about it. Because this, in my opinion, gives a little more space. And this you can have it also as white, right? And this is solid, but you lack space, so you will have your pieces trapped inside. Well, let's see how it continues, okay? Knight c6, knight bd2, and bishop e7, bishop d3, and b6. Here there is a comment that says, up to this point both sides have been developing logically, and one would expect to encounter castle. The candidate master has two choices. He can castle without thinking or try to plan a refutation against this move. Okay? So, what is the refutation about this move? I would pause the video and take a minute to think. Okay, I hope you took a minute. Meanwhile, I read the comment. Honestly, it seems there is not a refutation to b6. In the game, he played rook c1, but he says that queen a4 or bishop b5 are not good because black will play this. Okay, so they are not really helping that. And rook c1, he says that is dubious, but he played. While he said that maybe it would have been better to castle right away. Okay. Honestly, here we are still in the opening. Yes, maybe rook c1 is dubious because one of the goals of the opening is to castle, and then you have to connect the rooks, and then your opening should be over, right? Okay, after rook c1, black continue with bishop b7. Now white castles. And here there is a move that the author doesn't comment, queen c7, but that generally is not loved by grandmasters, because you don't put the queen on a file that can be open, and obviously the rook is already x-raying your attack. So that's this move, queen c7, it's a little strange. Okay, however, pause the video and try to find out what is the next move for white. Okay. Here white played bishop b1. He says that the normal procedure to get the advantage out of white's setup is to play e3, e4. But can white play this? Let's see what he says. He says that here he should have played this or this and then e4. Okay. Bishop b1, it seems, doesn't help. And so this is not really good, he says, because he can play this and control this diagonal. Okay. But unfortunately he played bishop b1. I honestly understand bishop b1, but you know why bishop b1 is not good? Okay, let me tell you why. Because the king is still in the center, so you try to open the center as soon as possible. If he would have castle, yes, then you are right. Bishop b1 can be interesting because maybe he's attacking on h7. But the king is in the center, so that's why you want to try to open the center with queen e2, e4, or rook e1, e4 immediately. And this you will see it in many of Kasparov game. Okay? Okay. So let's go back. Bishop b1. And now black played knight d7. Wow, that's interesting. White has shied away from e3, e4. Black should castle. It is unlikely that white's attack will succeed down to tempi, which he wasted 2 tempi playing rook c1 and bishop b1. But I would like you to notice one thing. It's also a question of coherence, right? Why he played rook c1? Because he wanted to play bishop b1, but he didn't want to have trap this rook here. So the author forgot to tell us this, but this is what the idea was behind bishop b1. He already had the plan. It just means that maybe that plan wasn't good. The real good plan would have been to create the possibility of e3, e4. And so that's what we must learn from this game. That plan wasn't good, this plan was good. Okay? So why is black afraid of castling? Because 1800 players do not like to defend, and sometimes they delay locating the king before the opponent commits himself. If black does not wish to defend, he should view castling as a preparatory move to the attacking e6, e5. So he should have castle in order to play e6, e5. Okay, so what white played here? Obviously he played bishop takes e7, knight takes e7, you don't take with the king, right? And pause the video and tell me what white played in this position. Okay, white played e4, and here it says now white has come back to life because the two lost tempi, bishop b1 and rook c1, have been regained by the two black knights, moving from f6 and c6 to e7 and d7. So how did the black continue here? He continued with e5, which is a dubious move. What fundamental error is this 1800 player making? Yes, one that has Candidate Master, you will see immediately. Black is preparing to open up the center while his king is still in the danger zone. Yeah, here he wrote a little kind of thing, but I don't know what it is. It's kind of, well, it doesn't matter. The point is, yes, you will see many Kasparov games, so you can learn from Kasparov that when the king is left in the center too long, he generally took advantage of it and won the game easily. He often even sacrificed pawn and a piece to keep the king in the center, and he got everything back, plus something more. So how do you continue here as white? Try to pause, because sometimes, also when I talk, guys, you can pause the video and start to think about the next move. Okay? That's very important, so we don't waste time. He played d takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, queen takes e5, f4, and here black didn't play the right move. He played queen f6. The correct move is queen c7. Obviously queen d6 is not good. Why is not good? You need to think for a second and you will realize that knight c4 is attacking the king and you cannot take it because, sorry, is attacking the queen and you cannot take it because this queen is hanging, right? So here not, this is good and this is not so good. Okay, so what did white play in this position? If you were white, what would you play? Try to pause and find the move. Obviously here it's kind of easy because you want to gain space and you want to try to penetrate in enemy territory. Otherwise, how do you attack, right? If you don't enter enemy territory. And entering enemy territory is this move. Now, black cannot play this because there is this friend here, right? So he can play this one. But obviously on that side of the board is a little misplaced. It would have been better here on c6. Yeah. Okay. Queen e2. And now we see another mistake by black. And this is not 1800, but I think a 1600 maybe would do it. Yeah. Because he played a5. Why he played a5? So the mistake is that he leaves the king in the center, okay? So here it says black pursues his king in the center policy even though the center has become considerably loosened. Black should have castle either side, but he apparently can't bring himself to committing his king, not realizing how committal his play is. So not committing is still committing, right? So, but why did he play a5? Because he had the idea to gain a rook with this move, right? But obviously it's stupid because he should have gone here immediately. Or castle there. I don't like to castle on this side at this point. But you needed to move a king somewhere else. And I think now the game is really going bad soon. Very bad soon. Why? Because the pawns are entering the position. In fact, yeah, he plays f5. d4. Here you can see if he had the queen here, this would have given him some possible attack at the right moment, obviously, at the right moment. C takes d4, c takes d4. Again, you see the problem, right, that I told you before. And now you are white. Pause again, please, pause the video and tell me what you would play as white. White played knight e4, and the author writes, this move is logical and good. It involves a pawn sacrifice that the 1800 player will accept. The tactics of 1800 players aren't bad, but the timing often is. Black should castle now. Instead, the 1800 player gets brave and ends up in trouble. So, what do you think he did? Like I told you, he played bishop a6, because that is what he wanted to do with pawn a5, right? But bishop d3, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, and now there is knight takes f5. So this is the pawn he was mentioning. Yeah, kind of interesting. So why white cannot take here? Because this would take back, okay? So that's the reason. Let's see what happens. Apparently well calculated by the 1800 player, but the handicap of a king in the center is just too great. Okay, so let's see what happens. So here white played, and eventually you can pause and try to find out, he played rook c e1. The author says white can probably win after queen b5, but the test is devastating. The e3 square is protected, and if a knight moves, knight d6 is crashing. Okay, so let's see. Rook c e1. Now that he played rook c e1, obviously you need to defend this or do something, because this is really hanging, right? So black played g6, but after g6 white played knight d6, and here you can calculate king e7, but obviously it's losing because of rook takes f5, right? If you don't see it, try to see it again. After rook takes f5, g takes f5, knight takes f5, fork, right? Or if you play this, takes here, king f8, queen takes d4, attacking this, queen g7, rook f6 win. So try here to visualize the lines, because at this point white has kind of won. In the game he played this move. Let's see. Rook king f8, and here he continue with this, and this. Okay, here it said, by simple moves from move 12 on, white has achieved a winning attack. Black's best is now rook e8, but white will still win. Analyze, plan a win after rook e8. Okay. In the game he didn't play rook e8, but let's see. After rook e8, what would you play? That's the important thing. Try to think again. Pause the video and think what you would play after rook e8. So here he says white would continue with queen f3, rook e7 to protect this, and now there is e6, and white's attack must dominate. Again, verify this for yourself. Learn these types of overwhelming positions. When he says learn this type of overwhelming position, he means that you need to play it against a sparring partner or someone else. In this case, a computer, right? Let's see if I remember well the position. Instead of rook e8, he played this move, and white won the game by playing this e6. Why this is devastating? Because obviously if you play this, there is this fork, right? You cannot take because it will take back. What do? I don't know. It's terrible. The situation is definitely terrible, right? And also remember, when a pawn reaches a certain rank, let's say, it becomes kind of unstoppable, and it's worth a rook. So how do you play against a rook down, right? Or something like that. I thank you for watching. I hope you will enjoy more games from this book that honestly is very cheap. You can find it, I found it for $5, so it's worth to buy it, right? $5, and to learn from this author, because you are learning from someone that reached that level and wants to give you some of his wisdom. Thank you very much for watching.